Hi teachers, happy first week of February. I'm coming to you today because I want to talk all things ELPAC. I originally did a quick blog post in regards to the writing portion of the ELPAC, which is the English Language Proficiency Assessments for California. This does apply to everybody outside of California as well because they are helpful strategies to help English learners. If your state doesn't have one, this is an opportunity you can use this for free as a resource. And or if your state has one, you want to look into the resources that they offer. But today, specifically, I'm focusing on the ELPAC because I am actually the person who administers the test to about 400 students at my high school. I also assist other teachers in our district and some surrounding districts on how to successfully administer and set up and have students be successful on the ELPAC. So some resources and things that I want to come at you, and it's going to go kind of quick because, you know, I like to keep things short, simple, and to the point. At elpac.org, so if you look up the very top of my screen at elpac.org, you have the opportunity to have students, you can download an older version of the practice test. Also allows you an opportunity to see the test in action itself. So this is, and I'll come back to page 35 here, this is one of the downloads. This is 910. I also have 1112. The test has since been updated. It is now 100% online. It is not pencil to paper, so if it's been a hot minute since you gave the test or administered the test, this is kind of news for some people. So just know that there's not very much for you to do other than prepping your student for taking the ELPAC test. So I have the different versions downloaded itself just for me to have a reference when creating resources for my teachers within the school site and throughout the whole district. So the portion of the blog post that I was really referencing for the most part was the writing portion, because that is one of the portions that the students and teachers struggle with the most. Teachers struggle with it because they have a lot already embedded in their curriculum, and how do I add one more thing to prep students for the ELPAC test? I have a solution to that. Then the next thing is that writing just comes difficult for students, and then there's that grading component, right? So a couple tips about the ELPAC that most people don't know is that at minimum, students need to write 2 to 3 sentences. A little bit more is better, especially if it's in detail, but at minimum, they need to have 2 to 3 sentences. So that makes for a little bit of a quicker read time and grade time and feedback time for teachers. And it also helps students get their, for lack of better words, sea legs about writing underneath them. So, you can use this resource to create your own ELPAC resources itself. There are a couple things that I've created for my teachers. One portion I have missing, which eventually I'll update, and it's the graph portion. It's about academic information. I just haven't found enough graphs that's, one, not going to break any copyright rules or anything of that nature, so that I can assist teachers itself. All right. So this is the actual physical paper in hand version. I have it uploaded to my Google Drive so that I keep it on hand. I have a copy printed at school, but my Google Drive has both versions sitting in it. All right. From there, oops, I jumped a step here. From there, if you want, you can go to what's called elpac.org, and again, this helps all my friends all over the United States. And if you go down to the portion that says practice and training tests and click there, you can get an opportunity for students to practice the interface online. So they're going to go here. I give this to parents, I give this to staff, I give this to teachers. I actually go through these very steps in my ELAC meetings so that parents know how to help their students. So when you click on that portion that said student practice, you're going to get a screen that looks like this. They are going to sign in as a guest. They get 99 times, so it doesn't really matter. From there, my specialty is secondary, so 6 through 12, but I'm going to focus at this point on 9th grade. They can practice the Smarter Balance, they can practice the future Spanish assessment test, but the one I focus on the most is the ELPAC test here. All right, So because I'm focusing this video itself and blog based upon the writing portion, I'm going to go ahead and click here so you can kind of see what it looks like. And it's going to do the feedback and play. And I'm going to skip this portion. But it's going to take students into a screen that looks like this. Notice that there is a divided screen. So students will have a divided screen with the left-hand side being all the information itself, and the right-hand side will be where they can type, so they can easily flip and go back and forth so they get the materials, the citations from the text. Because I will tell you right now, other than the 2 to 3 sentences that are the most crucial, it is proving and providing evidence from the actual documentation, the documents, that help students score higher in the written portion. All right. So when you have a reading, chapter reading, I suggest you practicing and citing information from the text. If you have any sort of informational text, have them practice pulling evidence from the text. In my classroom, and my recommendation is basically setting it up like Cornell notes. So good old-fashioned Cornell notes. Question on the left side, answer on the right side. On the right side, always have the student write down, type in the actual citation from the text. That helps them constantly keep going back, and it helps them prepare for the ELPAC test and any test down the line, because you do always need to support your opinion or document your answer. All right. So again, we have this awesome like divider. They get to see the left side, they get to see the right side. They click next as they go through. Again, notice all the directions. Everything is virtual. It's all online. You, the teacher, are just monitoring them and encouraging them. My suggestion, Jolly Ranchers go a long way. I'm not sponsored by Jolly Rancher, but it is something that gives them a sweet treat for telling them that they're doing a great job. All right. The resource that I created for my teachers itself is I actually created one writing prompt per week between the start of the school year and after we get over all the stuff, all the way through to when the summative window opens. For me personally, the window opens on the 1st of February. I always pick the first Monday after that window opens to begin testing my students. Again, my site has over 400 students, so I want to test them earlier so that they do not get testing fatigue when they have to take the CASP test or any other state assessment depending upon where you're at. So I like to start now. So come Monday, I will be starting to test, and my goal is to hit about 100 students that go through our speaking portion, not the other portions, but the speaking portion of the test, to move them forward. So my students know, all of them know, my teachers know how we're setting this up so they can prepare them as well. So with that being said, I did create for my teachers with the rubric, so it's an easier grade so that they don't have to create it itself. They can make minor adjustments as needed, or they can straight upload this to Google Classroom, is different prompts. That first one's in black and white, but I did end up looking for colored ones because when I looked at the released online version, they now have colored pictures to go with it. So that's easier to describe, by the way. Those black and white ones, really hard for students, especially if it didn't photocopy well. So you're going to notice I had 2 questions for the describe the picture itself. From that section, I have write about the experience. I have also created for teachers justified opinion, and I also created a portion that is about academic information. The only portion I did not include is I did not include the rubric or the graphing one. I'm still trying to work through that. So some adjustments will be made for my teachers because I don't want students to come in and be a little bit shocked when they see those, all right? So these are just different stories because remember they can be fast, longer, shorter, but they're writing about them. So constantly having them practice at least a minimum of 2 to 3 sentences for writing is going to help your students go a long way when it comes to the ELPAC test. All right. Along the lines of ELPAC and ELD, if you've never taken any classes and want to or get on their mailing list, I highly recommend what is called EL Rise. And they do have some forums and they do have some roadmaps. Remember, the ELD standards are fairly new. They were created in 2012 to be implemented. So if you were like me and started teaching back in 2001, I didn't start with the EL standards, so these are new. But EL Rise, California is together. They have some great resources for different various modules, and they have the roadmap, they have the standards, how to help long-term English learners, your LTELs, and they just have different great workshops and ideas. So there is catalogs that are offering. I am not sponsored by them, nor am I a presenter. I just have attended them several times, and I do actually find all their resources very beneficial. So just type in EL Rise. It will take you to California's Together, and this is an opportunity for everybody basically to look at different workshops and courses that are offered that are beneficial to all students. All right. On that note, I'm going to go ahead and tell you good luck. And if you have any questions or you're wanting, like, hey, how do you get through all 400 of your students? This is my first time administering. Feel free to reach out. I've been giving this test for the last 8 years. Personally, as a whole group. Prior to that, I was giving it to individual students that were in my classes. I have since taken over the testing portion of ELPAC, and I would love to help. That's one of my favorite parts about helping teachers to administer the test itself. But feel free to leave a comment or ask any questions or reach out, and I'll be more than happy to help you. I hope your students have good luck, and we'll see you next time.